The space race, a historic event in which most Americans generally know as our victory in beating the Russians to the moon.
But our race to reach the moon wasn't just for national glory. America engaged in this conflict in order to prevent potential war between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. The cause of the space race dates back to 1957, at the end of the Cold War. The Cold War was never actually fought on the battlefield. It was a mental game between two world superpowers, both stockpiling nuclear weapons in hopes to never actually use them, neither firing in fear of receiving fire.
Missile! Now here came the problem. What happens when a nation, already fearing the spread of communism, finds that they have satellites in space? Satellites that could target specific locations across the American border for ICBM strikes. A need to quell the status quo.
So, when the Soviets launched Sputnik 1 on November 3, 1957, the space race officially began. When our two nations entered a nuclear standstill, Russia began preparations for space travel in order to gain a tactical advantage. Well, it worked, and in order to not lose the Cold War, we began preparations to reach space with Explorer 1 in 1958.
Men, we will begin preparations for Explorer 1 to the moon!
It's still daylight.
Shut up! We're good.
By 1960, Russia was essentially kicking our asses, being the first country to leave Earth's orbit with Sputnik 1, and later sending the first living thing into space, a dog named Laika, and Sputnik 2, both in 1957. On top of that, Russians also sent the first man into space named Yuri Gagarin, who reached the end of the atmosphere and successfully orbited Earth in 1961. America, on the other hand, failed in the response to Russia's technology strides when we tried to launch a grapefruit-sized satellite into space. It exploded at launch. And while they would have had a few more successful missions, Russia would continue to have the upper hand for years in the space race.
However, in 1960, President John F. Kennedy would announce to the world that America would put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. By now, our fear of the Cold War was ending, and competitive drive drove us deeper into space. And so, America began a comeback in the space race with numerous missions to the moon. Starting with missions Apollo 7, 8, and 9, which were orbiting missions, and finally, on July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 became the mission that landed our first man on the moon. This event marked the end of the space race, with America claiming victory as the first nation to ever reach the moon. By 1975, the U.S. and Russia had begun joint missions to the moon, marking the true end of our space race and the beginning of unified space travel.
The competition itself caused new technologies and breakthroughs in rocket science and space exploration. Throughout the entire space race, many firsts were made between America and Russia, like the first living thing in space and the first man on the moon. The emergence of GPS, accurate weather prediction, and the launch of satellites would change how we look at the Earth and worlds beyond forever.
Ahead of me.
No, I'm too close.
Oh, I thought you were.
Mike, it's a race.
Yeah, no.
It's a race in space. Gosh, that's kind of stupid. What? It's over?
Yeah, it's a single lot.
I guess the space race had a very quick conclusion.